Hello everyone and welcome to the match review, live match review, a little bit later than normal. We're about, 3 hours later than what we normally would do, 2.5 hours. But yeah, we're here and we're here to talk about Sunderland's 0-0 draw with Manchester United. Taff, what are your first feelings before we dive into all the talking points? What are your initial thoughts?
Can I just get rid of myself? Because I'm getting feedback from myself.
So add you to the stage.
No, it's crazy.
Somehow
I'm on another tab. So if I exit that, I hopefully won't disappear here too, either.
Okay.
Let's find out.
He's
picked the wrong one. You picked the wrong one.
Yeah, right.
The wrong one was deleted.
What a shambles. Right, anyway. Yeah. How do you feel after Sunderland's 0-0 draw with Manchester United? Go on.
Just a brief. I cannot help but feel deeply disappointed. I'm sorry. I recognise that we played fantastically well. Possibly the best first half we've played at home this season. But I still can't help but feel disappointed. They were there for the taking. We really should be able to score a goal out of all of that. And I feel like that's the chance gone. And I so much want to wear that outfit.
Yeah, you do. See, I'm much more positive. I thought we were really good. I enjoyed the game. We created a lot of chances. We talked about after the Forest game, or I did, about wanting to see a reaction and needing to see a positive reaction. And then last week against Wolves, I think we do go on and win that game with 11 men. It is what it is. There's a red card. And then I thought today we got a reaction. I thought we were excellent. The team setup was, I wasn't happy with Hume playing, but I think overall it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I thought we were excellent to a man, and I think it's unfortunate we couldn't get it over the line. I mean, we missed 4 good chances in the game. Oh, very good. 4 good chances, I think, today to get a goal.
There was some absurd statistic on about 40 minutes or something, or 30 minutes. I wrote it down somewhere. We had 19 passes into their box, and they had 1 pass into our box.
Yeah, it was.
We dominated them. We played fantastically well, I have to say. Yeah, after 36 minutes, 19 passes into their box and 1 into ours. We utterly dominated them. We closed off Fernandez. He barely saw the ball first half, and consequently they had no ideas, and they couldn't do anything with it. And I thought that their substitutes didn't really help in the second half. They had a good period for about 10 minutes at the start of the second half, I thought, when we just looked like we were a bit asleep. And I thought it was, we played really well. And I know that I shouldn't feel disappointed, but I do, because the chances were there. But I can rationalise it. If we've missed out on Europe, it isn't because of this game.
No.
So, but you can't help feel that sort of recency bias, And they were there for the taking today. They really were. But a lot of that has to go down to the fact that the team played fantastically well.
I just sort of think we have spent a lot of time in the second half of the season talking about chance creation and trying to get that area of the field right. And I saw today, if Sunderland play like that 80% of next season, they'll pick up a lot of points. And I know you can't necessarily do that consistently, but I just think today I looked at it and I was like, we're creating. We look defensively solid. Man United created virtually nothing in the whole game. We were good in the press. We were very well organised. We created just so many chances. We even looked a little bit... Well, we looked good defensively on set pieces, which is a nice change compared to normal. And I came away from it saying, you know what, the result, we've not won the game we should have. It's disappointing. We've dropped 2 points in the sense that we were by far the better team. But, I was just happy to see us kind of put together what could have probably has been one of our best sort of all-round performances. There aren't many times where we've been that defensively solid and looked good going forward. Normally we're either defensively solid or we look decent going forward and kind of defend anything. So today it looked to me like we kind of had a complete performance. And if we win that game, as we should have, 1-0, I think we all come away from it going, wow, that was really, really good, and it's a sign of things to come. And that's where I'm at with it. I feel very, very positive about it. I understand. Yes, Europe's gone. To be honest, I don't think we really deserve to get into Europe anyway. Like, we've basically been stumbling for about 3 months.
Everybody else has been desperately trying to let us in. We cannot take advantage of it.
Exactly. It. So I don't think I don't think if we could still kind of get in, that would be amazing. But I don't think that this team is. I don't think we have the squad depth really to have mounted a serious European challenge. I think it would be really hard to do that. So I come away from it pretty happy. In fact, the only irritation I have is, I see a lot of people in the comments talking about it, is Hertrauder plays unbelievable today, and I'm just so frustrated.
He lives. The last time he played was Newcastle, and he was outstanding in that game. He was my man of the match with Rig in front of him in that game. And again, he was brilliant today, and I just don't understand the continued selection of anybody else at either centre half or right back. Because I mean, like 09 plays centre half when you could have somebody else and Hertrauder at right back, and as much as I like Trey Hume, he's just not as good as Hertrauder in managing the game. Hertrauder manages the game much better. I thought that 10 minutes. I thought this is really important. I think that 10 minutes in the start of the second half, when Man United found a bit of space and a bit of pace and aggression, that stopped because Hertrauder, probably under instruction, moved into the midfield, and we started playing 3 at the back, and he moved into the midfield. Sort of alongside Xhaka or in front of him. And he nearly hit the post. Well, he did hit the post. He nearly scored a goal driving from that midfield and seizing things. And I just think if you have to play this hybrid right wing, defender role, I think even then, after the first 10 minutes of the second half, Hertrauder shows that he's much more of a force in doing that than Hume. So, I mean, I was stunned that the man is alive. Well done to whoever found him. But can we just... There shouldn't really be any contest about him starting when there's space. You can have a debate about whether it should be him or Mukiele with a full set of backline. Fine. But beyond that, there really shouldn't be a question about it.
I have a question about Mukiele. I think he's a better centre-back than he is a right-back.
No. I would prefer him at right-back, but not in the way that Lebris plays him. The only reason you think that, and the only reason he plays the way he does, is because we don't have a functioning right winger. If Traore were fit and playing on the right wing, then he wouldn't be bombing up all the time. He'd be a right back, and you'd be much more comfortable with his selection there because he would be able to join the attack. And there were moments today when he did too. And you'd have that third person with added height and physique at the back line. But I understand why you say that. And part of the frustration with him is that he's under instruction when we play with that, because Traore has been out for so long. Yeah. Solve the right wing problem in the summer, and you won't see him doing very much of that, except in moments when we perhaps need to change the game up. But I agree with you. I don't like that role that he's put in. I don't think it works. I think it leaves us overexposed, and it puts a lot of pressure on him to run up and down. And I think we're less creative with it. Certainly, Rig suffers from that role. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I suppose we are going to talk about the refereeing as well. I think that's important, but we'll park that for a minute. Let's keep talking about the team. Trey Hume being in on the right side. Now, this was interesting because I was obviously, as you can imagine, we were both the same. We weren't happy about seeing that. And I have some frustrations with his performance in the sense that there was a few times he was the man where the ball fell to, where there was a decision to be made in terms of a forward pass trying to play someone in, and he got it wrong each time it happened. However, what I would say is that I felt like Trey Hume being in that position meant that Hertrauder could play often a bit more central, and it meant we had that overload in the middle. Now, my wonder is if it was Chris Rigg out there on the right, which is what I would have done, would Hertrauder have had the same license? But then we know how well Hertrauder played with Chris Rigg against Newcastle, so maybe that's an unfair comment. But I kind of understood when I watched the game why Trey Hume was playing out there, but I still would not have played him out there.
I understand. I think in the preview we said we'd all want Hertrauder, but it wouldn't surprise me if we played Hume. And even if he had Hertrauder, we thought who plays at right wing? Probably Hume as well. Not that we wanted to, but we recognised that the briefs probably will. Look, I think that they were worried about Man United's pace, Man United's countering. and I think that's why Hume plays. Labrie caution first. We've got to win this game, and I thought Labrie looked really thoroughly disappointed. It's the first time I've ever seen him look really sort of, like the wind has gone out of him at full time and disappointed, because I think they all kind of knew this is the last sort of chance. I mean, bizarrely, it might not be, but it did feel like the last chance to try and squeeze into some European contention, whether you got there or not. And I think he knew that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would have picked a slightly different team, but who am I? He's much better at the job than I would even dream to be. So I understand why he did it. You can't lose that game in the first half an hour like we did in the away leg. So he puts Hume there because he doesn't want to lose the game early on, and you're worried about the pace of Man United. But, Mbeumo doesn't start. Cunha does. We all thought Cunha wouldn't start, but Mbeumo doesn't start. And then Casemiro isn't playing, so they can't put their foot on the ball as much as they could and spray it about. So maybe, I mean, but you're not to know that until kickoff or until an hour before kickoff, when you've handed your team sheet in as well. So you're not to know that, and at that point, I think you just have to let it go. And actually, we did really well. My only surprise was as the game, I thought our subs were too little, too late, really.
Interesting on the subs, right? I don't know if you could see this on the telly, but Isidore got called in and took off his tracksuit. So he was coming on, and then for whatever reason, that didn't happen. And then it was Angulo, and then Mayenda came on. So I don't think I've seen anyone ask the manager a question, which I think probably comes from the fact that the press box is right at the top, so therefore they wouldn't have seen this incident. But from where I was sat, Isidore was about to come on, and he didn't come on for some reason. So I don't know if he got injured while he was warming up or something. But he was definitely planned to come on about 5 to 10 minutes before Angulo came on.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, I mean, I just thought it was too little too late today. And I thought the obvious... I thought once we get past that 10 minutes, we're starting to be busy again. But the team, round about 70 minutes was visibly tiring because they'd put a lot of work in pressing and chasing the ball, winning the second ones. They'd been quite physical with Man United, and they were visibly tiring. And I just saw, Hertraude had moved up into the midfield quite often, and we were being a bit more adventurous. And I just thought taking off Talby for Angulo doesn't really change anything if you're chasing the game. I mean, by all means do that, but I just thought the natural thing to do was take off Hume and put on...
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Put on Diarra or I don't know, maybe even leave Hertraude to move up to that place and put on Isidore up top. But to try and go for it. I mean, if you lose at 70 minutes, it makes no difference because you got to try. You got to win it to get anywhere. So I just thought that the subs just came a bit too late, and then that first sub was just a bit frustrating because it's quite, it doesn't really change anything.
If I was to have a defense of that though, what I would say is that Labrie, I would say generally, I think sometimes he doesn't like to make changes because he knows it rocks the boat. Like, we look at when we played Newcastle away, for example, we complimented Labrie because he didn't make substitutions until later on, and that's what won us the game. And I feel like often the best substitution, often not making a substitution is the best substitution. You look at, say, for example, right, every time I watch, and I'll use Newcastle because that's the reference for the Derby game, right? Eddie Howe goes, oh, we're getting beat on 60 minutes, or we're drawing on 60 minutes. I tell you what I'll do. I'll make 3 changes, and I'll put on a new winger, a new striker, and a new central midfielder, and it upsets the rhythm of the team. So I think that while we can sit here and go, well, maybe you could have done this, maybe you could have done that.
Yes, yeah, we were on the boat.
We're on top of the game, so why would you, and we ended the game. Like, I know Man United in added time had their only chance of the game, but we were dominating the game, so why would you? I know it looks like they were tired, but fundamentally we were still the team that was on top and looked the most likely to score.
Well, we are, but that is the reason I think that if you make a substitution, you make an attacking substitution, and what we got was a little bit too late, like for like, and I just thought that's not going to help. That's not going to help turn the screw if we're in control. And I think, I think it's a very different scenario to go away in the derby and be drawing and saying, "Look, we're on top. Let's not panic." To this is a game that, if we lose that, no one's gonna, putting on attacking substitutions trying to get there. I don't think you're going to get too many complaints
But if you think about the way the game was going, though, I'm thinking about Brobbey's chance, Hertrauda's chance. They almost come around 60 to 70 minutes.
They do, but I don't know how you felt in the stadium, but I didn't feel watching the second half that we were going to score. I know Hertrauda hits the upright, but I didn't ever feel like I didn't ever get excited the way I was the whole of the first half. I didn't ever feel like we were going to win this game. No, I mean, we were playing well. We were on top. I accept all that, but I didn't feel like we were going to get anything.
Well, even though we had two one-on-one, well, a one-on-one which was well saved, and then we've hit the post.
Well, which one-on-one? There were several of them. I think Siddiqui's
Brobbey had
Siddiqui
one
in the first half. Yeah,
oh yeah,
he did.
Well, obviously that one.
Siddiqui had one first half.
Right, with the Siddiqui one is that the other week we had Diarra.
Yeah, I thought exactly the same thing.
And I was like, while I am not encouraging any sort of pile on Siddiqui, I'm not. It is so interesting, though, the game state and how that changes people's psychology of it all. Because if Siddiqui misses that in the last minute, it's like, oh my God, how has he done it? I mean, Siddiqui's finish is far worse than Diarra's.
I did think about that scenario because when Siddiqui went through, I'll be honest with you, I didn't have any confidence he would put it away.
No, I didn't either.
I mean, he's quite a dynamic player, but the one thing he needs to improve is he needs to, produce more because I think he's one of the few players out there who haven't scored a goal.
Well, Nordy was I don't know if you would have saw this on the TV, but Nordy was telling him, why did you go to the near post? It has to be a shot into the right-hand post.
Well, maybe just you're running at pace, the natural way is to pull it. I don't know. If you're running straight on, I mean, it's harder. It's much easier to come in on an angle to open your body for the shot. You're running straight on. It's more difficult, I think. But I didn't have any confidence he'd put that away. When Brobbey went through for his
I thought he was going to score.
He put it too close to Lemon.
Yeah.
Didn't he? Lemon,
also, this is a fair point from Ryan, by the way, because Diarra obviously is expected to score more. And also, Changing Crisis also points out that Siddiqui was unbelievable in the build for that. So, yeah.
He was amazing.
That is true. And it wasn't meant to be a criticism of Siddiqui, just more a point of, there's been such outcry about Diarra in the past.
Yeah.
Shall we... should we talk about the refereeing?
Well, there's one other one-on-one that you missed that when it happened, I had no confidence would be scored. And that was when Trey Hume went through. And
no, I didn't have
I had no confidence that would be scored. Because, the two players who get through there are the two players. I mean, Trey Hume did score last week.
I tell you what I thought went in was Talby's in the first sort of 10 minutes. He put one around because the goalkeeper just sort of stood, just watched, and he was like, "Well, I can't get there." I was just waiting for that, and I just thought it was in.
It was much closer than perhaps people thought, and somebody some time ago commented about Talby. This can't take a player on. I mean, that's a bit tough on Hume. I did think that, but that about Talby and this about Hume and Talby again. I think concerning Talby, I think that he gets that shot away early doors. But I actually think what's his name?
Maserati.
What a name. I thought he defended Talby very, very well. There are some the clear game plan was to ping that ball to Talby, who was hanging wide and high because that's where our pace is. And then he might either cut in and have a shot, or we'd flood the box when he crossed it. But that Maserati fella just after that first shot, go on, say it. Put me right again. I don't know how it is, isn't it?
Maserati.
He
should have been on the yellow card, though.
Well, yeah, but regardless of that, he showed for the rest of Talby's time on the pitch, whenever that happens and he gets one-on-one, he shows him onto his left foot. And I thought he defended him excellently. So it's not simply a case of Talby can't beat a man and isn't very good. I thought that fella defended him very, very well after that shot.
He's also a left back playing at right back, which may have
influenced the way he stood.
No, well, obviously because he's going against somebody that is wanting to cut inside, and his obviously if you're on the opposite foot, that's I don't know if that's a tactic that Man United use.
I don't know. But he defended
Right.
Toby very well after that shot, so...
But he should have been on a yellow card, which leads me on to a refereeing. Now, I have seen a lot of Man United fans complain about the refereeing, and I will say that Angulo definitely should have been sent off. I am shocked seeing that back, that he was not given a red card for the elbow on Bruno Fernandes. For me, that is a red card.
I thought it was going to be... When I saw the video, I didn't know what had happened. And I just thought...
Same.
I thought Fernandes was whining. When I saw the VAR, I thought, oh, that'll be a red card, probably. Then I just the only thing that will save him is that it looks like it's a sort of jolt in the back, and then he's caught him with the forearm accidentally. As it transpires, that's what VAR said. But I think Fernandes doesn't help himself by going down like he's been shot from the stands.
Yeah, I get that, but it was. I would expect the red card.
You would have no. You could have no complaints if you are sent. You could have no complaints if you are sent off.
We saw a slight hair pull last week, and it's a 3-game ban. But that isn't really what I want to whinge about, because that's a Man United decision. But for fairness, we have to reference that was not good. Yeah. I thought there was 2 potential penalties for Sunderland. The Amad handball in the first half, which my reference point for this is that I have seen that James Tarkowski one on the opening day of the season with Leeds. Do you remember it, where Tarkowski sort of leans and it hits off him, but his arm's still at his side? I saw that one given as a penalty, and as far as I'm aware, the handball rule has not changed this season. So Ahmad's arm is out in an unnatural position and interferes with where the ball's going, and it's not hit at him from that close of a distance. So for me, I don't really know how that isn't... Like, I've seen penalties given for that.
I have the benefit of TV and the replays. So I don't believe you about the Tarkowski one. I'm not in agreement there. I think Tarkowski deliberately leans into that with his arm.
But his arm's on his side.
Yeah, but he does it on purpose, and he tries to make...
You can't cut your arm off, though.
No, I know, but he puts his arm next to his body and does that on purpose.
So,
say, hey, look.
So the ball's getting fired at him, and he needs to move his body into the way, and his arm stays on his side. It doesn't leave his side, and he tilts into it. It could have hit him slightly on the stomach. He's not got a brilliant judge when the ball's coming at him 100 miles.
It could have hit him on the stomach, but it didn't. I think he deliberately uses his arm to get there. But that's beside the point. Okay. So the reason the Ahmad one isn't given is because it actually hits him sort of here in the groin, and then it flicks up onto his arm. So from there to there, he cannot move his arm, and it's off himself and heading away from goal. So it's not given because of that. Because actually,
there's a touch beforehand. Okay.
Yeah, it hits him it hits him square in the sort of groin and the hip.
Letter of the law, that is a correct decision. Yes.
Yeah, which is the only reason it wasn't given. So that's fine. Unfortunately.
Now, the second one then. So I have seen the second one back, which is the Brobbey getting just Luke Shaw's not looking at anything other than Brobbey. Yes. He's not looking at the ball, and he's trying to pull him down. And Brobbey, being an honest, I don't know if that's fair, but being honest, is stood on his feet and sort of allowed himself not to be brought down, and then somehow the foul's given on him when he doesn't really do anything wrong. I just sometimes think that if we want footballers to be honest and not go down like they've been shot all the time, then we have to look at decisions like that and go, well, Luke Shaw is trying to foul him. He's pulling him, trying to foul him, and
he's
Brobbey
not even facing the right way.
Yeah, Brobbey's went, well, I think I can still get the ball, so I'm going to stay. He probably also knows he's not going to get the foul anyway, so he tries to stay on his feet, and then the foul somehow goes against him.
Yeah,
I don't think it was VAR checked.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it was that was an incorrect decision. In the same way that you could have no complaints about Angulo if that had been given as a red card, I don't think you could have had very much complaint about Luke Shaw being given a penalty against him, because he's playing Brobbey, not the ball at all. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, the instruction, to Brobbey, unfortunately, the instruction should be, look, I think you're a great player. I love it that you fight for the ball, and you wouldn't score against Arsenal, and you wouldn't score against, you wouldn't set up that goal against Chelsea if you don't fight for it and stand up and hold people off. I get that. But maybe sometimes you should just go down.
Yeah.
And it's really sad that's the place we are, that you have to say, well, if he goes down, he gets a penalty there. But at the end of the game, he is fouled by 3 consecutive Manchester United players.
Yeah.
And the referee gives a free kick to them. Or is it just a play on? I can't remember. And Brobbey's utterly furious, and quite right. And I do feel as though you put all the decisions of the season together, and I do think that that referees look at him and say, he's big, he's physical, he works people, therefore he's never the one fouled. And I just think that kind of goes against him. If it was Michael Owen receiving that treatment, there'd be penalties and free kicks all over the place. But because he's a big, strong, physical player, he doesn't get them. If you were half his size and built like a rake, you'd have all of these things given to you because the referee would say, "Oh, that's unfair." And so I feel like his physique and his willingness to battle goes against him, and he's probably got to be quite upset about things because it's deeply frustrating.
This one here, I don't remember this.
Yeah. I saw that. I think that you couldn't have a complaint. You remember when Brobbey went down in the box and it looked a bit like a dive? About on the hour mark, something like that.
I can't remember.
Yeah. So he's been wrestled by Martinez, and part of that wrestling, he gets a sort of slap in the face, and Brobbey then turns him to try and run onto a through ball, and Martinez sort of spins around and slaps him in the face again with his arm.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
They're not. I mean, yeah, and Brobbey goes down. And given how Brobbey spends the entire game fighting people off, for him to go down with what is basically a punch to the face, although it's more of a sort of backhand. I think it's entirely deliberate by Martinez.
The other one, which I've seen back, is when Brobbey goes in 1-on-1 and he shoots and it's saved.
Yeah.
In the second half, Maguire completely cleans him out after the ball's gone. Now.
Well, which week is it? Is this a week where you're not in control, or is this a week where you're falling and you can't do anything? So, which week are we in here?
Yeah, exactly. So we have a goal disallowed against Nottingham Forest, where it's like, oh well, it's disallowed because even though he didn't mean to fall into him, he has, which therefore means that it's a foul. Brobbey is smashed after the ball's gone. The ball is gone about 2 seconds before, and Maguire, I think it is Maguire. Maguire comes in and just cleans him clean out. No playing of the ball, takes him down. I have seen penalties given for that this season, though.
Yeah, if you were Michael Owen and you were 18 years old, you get that penalty. But because you're Brian Brobbey, you don't. And I think it really is that simple.
Do you think it's just all?
Yeah, I genuinely, I don't think that people are saying you're not going to get anything. But genuinely, I do think subconsciously it enters people's minds saying, he's a big lad, he wrestles people. I'm not giving foul. I think he genuinely gets fewer fouls than other people would if the same things happened to them. I mean, now you could argue, but other people wouldn't get as wrestled as much because they don't pose such a physical threat. But I think that's irrelevant. If you're fouling somebody, you should get the free kick. And I think he doesn't get as many as he deserves. And I would freely admit that he's just as bad at pulling people around. Yeah. But they get given. Every single one of those gets pulled up, gets caught, and gets given. It's not like he gets away with any.
It's the same. Do you remember against Tottenham? Tottenham, where he got that yellow card, the guy Pedro Porro is pulling his shirt back because he's pressed the ball and he's won it.
And he's like, "Get off!"
And he goes, "Get off!" And he catches him in the face with an elbow, and the free kick goes the other way. And you're like, "But Porro's fouled him." The only reason why Brobbey is doing this is because he's pulling his shirt. And like, I'm not being funny. If you're out in general public and somebody was pulling your shirt, your natural reaction is to go, "Get off!" You know what I mean? That's what you do.
Well, Martinez's foul on Brobbey was worse than that. So
yeah. Right. Should we go back to some positive things? So the referee, in my view, got a few big decisions wrong. We've talked about the red card that should have been Angulo. So this isn't a bias. It's not like a Sunderland thing. The Angulo thing, he should have been sent off. I would not be shocked if he got a retrospective 3-game ban, because I don't think that you don't want to see that. But there is things in this game that Sunderland didn't get, and we definitely should have had at least one penalty in this game. But yeah, Lefay. How good was he today?
Lefay is outstanding. In the last couple of weeks, I've started to feel really sad because I do think, I've always thought that he's the most skillful player I've ever seen at Sunderland, I think in my entire life. And I had those expectations of him when he arrived, and it's taken such a long time to get to see him in the 10. Going forwards and defensively, he's fantastic. And he was everywhere. I thought he's brilliant. All the good things and all of the chances in the first half, they almost all come off him playing one-time balls. He doesn't stop the ball. You know, like when you're on the turn, he doesn't stop a ball and then carry it. He plays the ball first time against him almost, and that's where all of our chances, if you think about games, they all come like that. And he can do things creatively that other people can't. And seeing him recently in the 10, where we've always wanted him to be, has been great for us. And no coincidence that we produce so much when he's there. So it makes me sad because that man is a quality player, and I'm convinced other people will be looking at him for sure. I mean, why wouldn't you? There aren't many people who can play the kinds of passes he does week in, week out, and you know, he gets far less ball than other teams and other players as well. Yeah. So I feel a bit worried. My only hope is that, you know, he loves Regis and he doesn't ever want to leave. But pay that man whatever he likes if anybody ever comes anywhere near him, because he's the best player we've got.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about him, we were having a little debate in our Discord server, and somebody had said Lefay is the best number 10 we've had. And we were like, well, the other one would be Sessegnon, but Sessegnon did nothing off the ball. So, like,
Sausage
Lefay, yeah, Sausage John. Lefay, though, does everything off the ball. I mean, Lefay could play as a number 6, and he would do a solid job because he's tenacious, he tackles, he runs, he gets up and down. I think last week against Wolves, he was our highest tackles in the game, playing centrally. And I look at it and I think since we signed him, he's probably
it's incredible that
70% of his time, if not more, on the left
wing. On the left wing. It's incredible that we have him. And I am terrified that we'll lose him. I think we could replace other people. You know, maybe not as a goalkeeper as good as Roofs, but maybe you could. But I think other people that we lose, like Siddiqui, defensive midfielder, great player, but you'd have a better chance of replacing someone like that than you can of replacing someone like Lefay. I don't think people like Lefay, with his creativity and his skill, you can't get them very easily. No. And certainly not for 20 million euros or 20 million pounds. You can't. He's the best. You want me to answer that? I think he's the best 10 I've ever seen at Sunderland.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Xhaka today was unbelievable as well. Like this is the frustrating thing, is that I think a lot of our players did put in some of their best performances. I thought Xhaka today was just unbelievable, and like he was the in terms of that midfield engine. Considering Man United had Mason Mount, who was 60 million quid. They had Kobe Main, who was meant to be one of the best centre midfielders, young ones in the world. And then you've got Bruno Fernandes, who is meant to be the best player in the Premier League, or so Man United fans will have you believe. And all three of them were completely nullified by our midfield three of Siddiqui, Xhaka, and Lefay. You know, we won that battle today. And they have got a midfield three there that most people would look at and say is one of the better in the Premier League. We completely dominated them from start to finish. And Xhaka's
I think for all that I began with a bit of sort of disappointment and complaint about some of our selection and setup, I get it. And I think that the way we set up and played the game was superb, in that we absolutely nullified that. When they had the ball inside our half, sort of inside 40 metres, inside that, we just sat in a really, really tight box in the middle, outside of our 18-yard line, and there was no way through. They couldn't pass the ball through. And then anything beyond sort of 40 yards, we just pressed and harried, and we won almost every second ball in the first half. It was really good. And the chances that we got when we drove forward were from our midfield, harassing their midfield. And I don't think Fernandes really got the ball at all first half. We did a really good job from their goalkeeper to 60 metres from preventing him receiving the ball and harassing them and just closing them down and not giving them time. And he ended up having to, drop out onto the wings to receive it. And I thought they did a really good job. And, for that, I get why Hume is there, and I get why Hertrada steps up. So, fair play to Lebris in terms of that structure and that defence, isolating the idea that the game will be easier for us to manage if we press them. And it's got to be furious. We've got to win those second balls. We've got to be physical. And we have to keep it away from Fernandes. Keep it away from Fernandes, and they're much easier to deal with. And I think we said the same in the preview. And so it came to pass. We just couldn't finish it off. Off.
I enjoyed this one for Xhaka fans in Rose End Duck, wherever he shoots. Yeah, he's shooting so weird because we know that he can shoot. well, like historically, he's a shooter. He's somebody that shoots. And maybe like at Arsenal, maybe I've just seen like the highlights where like you see like the 10 he's put in the top corner, and maybe he took 100, but he's barely come close to scoring a goal for us, other than the deflected one he got against Everton.
And our set pieces were poor again today, I have to say. We took a number of short corners that seemed to do very little. Defensively, I thought we were superb. I thought Alderete won everything that went his way. He did more than Alriti. He did fantastically. And even nutmeg Mason Mount and got fouled for it.
Yeah.
So he was brilliant today, Alderete. There's still the occasional mispass, but he does so much good. Him and Mukiele in that second half, when we went sort of in possession, when we went sort of three at the back, they were driving forward because I think they realised if they can beat a man and drive forward, then we've got numbers to keep the attack going, and it worked very well. Just a shame, isn't it? Missed chances. We were so good today, deserved a win. How well does Lamens play, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think
they're all saves he would be expected to make.
Yeah,
sadly.
I think so. I think the Siddiqui one, Siddiqui's made the wrong decision. I think he probably needs to take another touch. I think he shot it probably too early. And B, I don't think if that goes in, it's bad goalkeeping. And I think the Brobbey one, again, it's a good save, but it's a save that you'd expect him to make.
Probably hits it too close to him, sadly.
Yeah, what else have we got? We got the Hitrauda one that hits the post, which obviously if it just sneaks a couple inches.
But Lemons stands still, he's beaten, and the Talby shot that just misses, he's beaten. But
So,
well, what about this then? I mean, it's been a complaint of his that whatever defensive solidity Hume has, his offensive numbers are need to get better. But that's not his position.
That's not his fault. That's the difficulty.
It's not his position. Lebris plays him there, so we have to try and do it.
I think if I was to offer a defence on this, it would be that we don't have a proper right winger. So like,
no,
I don't. If we next season, right, are sat here in December, and we have two new right wingers that we've brought on the bench, and Trey Hughes playing on right wing, then I will be pulling my hair out going, this is absolutely ridiculous. I think that Trey Hume being there is because they don't have they don't think they have another option. Today, I would have had Chris Rigg playing. I mean, I think we both would agree.
That's what this suggested.
Yeah.
No, I would have had Diarra.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, one of them. I would have been happy with either of those players playing.
Yeah.
I
could see the temptation of Rigg because he played so well in front of Hitrauda before.
That was my thought.
Yeah, I think if you're worried, the reason for playing Hume is that you're worried about their pace, you're worried about their, and you need some defensive physicality, and that's the reason I would have played Diarra. Diarra has athleticism and pace, and he is a tenacious defender. So I think you get that. You just get very good. You just get.
He's getting blocked.
You just get You don't get any offensive prowess with Hume, and I know the obvious retort there is Diarra doesn't offer it either, but I think he offers more than Hume. So, yeah, I mean, but these are small things. I get why that selection was made. Chances missed. I mean, there's a very good chance that Europe might go down to 9th place this season, and if it does, we'd finish 10th. It's just.
This is what I'd said in terms of the Hume. So it's what I'd said at the start. I don't know if Grant in real life missed this, but in defence of the Hume decision, I do think that he really, really helped Hitrauda today, and I think he helped us dominate the midfield. Even though it does. Yeah. What I think, right, is the ideal, and we're in the Premier League, so I think these players do exist, is a player like Trey Hume, but he's actually a right midfielder or right winger who can do the defensive side, but when he does get in attacking positions, can actually hurt the opposition, because that is the frustration. Today, he had 3 or 4 opportunities to play passes or shoot or whatever, and he makes the wrong decisions. His passes aren't good enough. Now, if we want to have a player like that so we can play in the system, we need one that can actually do the attacking side of it. So almost just Trey Hume, but like a one that is capable of putting a decent cross in and making the correct decision with a pass.
Yeah. I mean, he's put in some great crosses in the past. He's not incapable of doing it, but
Premier League level, has he?
I think he has, but that's when he's playing as a traditional right back. Today, he was far too central to be delivering balls like that, I think, at times. But I think there is a comment there in that last comment that is true. Certainly in the first half when we're dominating, his being in the midfield in front of the back four a little bit, or stepping out sometimes on that right, it allows Xhaka to press higher. And if you notice in this first half hour, Xhaka would be pressing sometimes up near the centre circle, adding to that sort of trying to keep the ball away from Fernandes. So it was really good, and it did help. And I get why he's played. And I don't, I'd have started with Diarra there, or at least when we make our substitute, I didn't think Angulo coming on for Talby changes the way we play when we really need to press the game at that point. And I would have... you can change Talby for Angulo if you like. I don't care. But I still would have brought somebody on for Hume at that point, because at that point, you don't need all that focus on defence because you've got to win at that point. So, yeah. I don't know.
Tony Bang is asking about the lighting. So, Tony, I can change. Look, we're on white now. We can go to red. We can go to green.
You're very proud of that, aren't you?
Yeah, it changes colour. Apparently, there's like millions of colours I can select. So there we go.
Is there an orange? Is there an orange?
Yeah.
Are you the tango man now?
Maybe.
Yeah, that'd be before your time. Oh, no, you do remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
You know when you've been tangled. We'll go to white. Keep Tony happy.
Okay. Can I talk about Brobbey a bit?
Sorry. Put your
Can I talk about Brobbey a bit? Yeah.
No, you can't. No.
Because, well, I mean, the idea is, and what the brief seems to like is that Talby plays off him, and there's been some profit and use come out of that. But I did feel at the end of the game today that Brobbey spends too much time with his back to goal, and he doesn't do enough times of trying to run into the channel and taking shots. And I get why that works for us, but I also think, there could be more of that. And I don't know. I mean, I guess he's told to play that way and bring the midfielders onto him. I mean, I agree with this. Sure, go down a bit easier in certain situations. But I also do feel, if you think about it, he plays too much with his back to goal. And I bet I'm not sure you would really want to. What do you reckon about that?
Are you talking about, so the first thing was about a partner? Are you talking about having potentially a strike partner?
No, my feeling generally is that Brobbey plays too much of a game with his back to goal, and that I would like to see more of him running the channels. And
I agree with that. I think he does spend too much time. I think he sacrifices himself so much for the team in terms of finding, he's doing his best to essentially occupy defenders in whatever way he can to create space for others. Now, I don't mind that, but I don't think that currently, because of our situation on the wings that we've talked about before, we don't have the players that are going to exploit that. So I don't mind Brian Brobbey playing with his back to goal if we've got two wingers that are really playing off him and a number 10. Like Diarra, for example, has in the past got very close to Brobbey. I can't remember, maybe it was the Burnley home game where this happened. But Diarra was like really close to him. It was essentially like he had a strike partner and he was playing off him. If we're going to play Brobbey in that way, that's what he needs. He needs players to get close to him. I think today, to be fair, players probably were getting close to him. The issue is when we go to like an away game and Brobbey's up there on his own and he's just battling, there's nobody within 30 yards of him. It's impossible for him. So I would like to see him getting more. I mean, what I like seeing, there was a ball in today in the first half. I think Talby played it over and he's pinning the defender back. And he's pinning the defender back, and then he's playing somebody in. There was another one where he spanned a defender and fired it across goal. That's what I kind of want to see. I don't think we do enough of that where we're able to get him so that he is holding the defenders behind him. Then he can do whatever there. He can try and spin the defender and get a shot on goal, or you can try and lay it off to somebody or pass it up, whatever it is. I don't think we do enough of that. I don't think we play enough into him where he wants the ball, which means that he ends up in areas that he probably doesn't want to be in because he's trying to get involved in the game. So I think probably in pre-season, we signed him so late, if you remember.
Yeah. We did, yeah. Look, I can agree with all of these things, but I think he's told to do that. I don't know if it would change. And the stuff about Diarra playing quite close to him, I liked that. Although Diarra's final choice decision making really needs to improve, I think it will with time, and he gets into a lot of positions and he frees up a lot of space. I like that, but that will only happen if you're playing Mukiele as that flying fullback who's also a winger. That is the only reason that Diarra will be able to push inside more and get close to Brobbey. If we're going to play with proper wingers next year, then Mukiele is not going to be doing that, and that winger isn't going to get close to Brobbey. Well, so I think they're different game plans.
We've had like a few questions talking about recruitment. I know we haven't put a ton of comments on here, but there's just so many comments that it's almost overwhelming. But we are reading them as they come through. But we've had a few people talk about recruitment and stuff, because I think Lebris said he's like, they're hoping to sign 4 or 5 players in the summer. Do you think there's a possibility that we do kind of change the way that we play a little bit next season? Like this 4-3-3 that we've had largely since Lebris has come in. Last season we had, Patrick Roberts, we had Mundell or Watson, then we had to put Lefay out there. And basically since the January of last season, our 4-3-3 has essentially been playing with only one winger, because we've always had injuries out there. We've never been able to get it all connected together. We had a period at the start of the season when we were particularly good, where we were able to do it. But I just wonder if maybe there has to be an evolution of the way that the team plays. Like, are we, is it a case of like,
I think,
do we need proper wingers, or do we need to bring in sort of having a, Joe, you look at how Brentford used to play when they had Mbeumo, Visser and Sharda. They were kind of like 3 forward players who all interchanged and stuff with each other, and it was not that like one played in a particular position. They were just annoying to play against because they were everywhere. And I just wonder if maybe that's the direction we need to go in as a team, where our front line is much more interchangeable and fluid, and not just you're playing on the left, you're playing on the right. Like, I want to see us maybe evolve into having a slightly different style of play, which helps the creativity, because we've got attacking players on the pitch, and it's not like, right, okay, you've got to play here, you've got to play here. We just need to be fluid.
I think
that's what I want to see.
I think a lot of our season has been dictated by not having a broad enough squad to make choices like that. And it's quite clear we haven't had a proper right winger, and we've struggled with numbers in the back line. I think some of it is to do with that. I do think that Lebris has other ideas and will want to try to play a bit more adventurously and a bit more aggressively, but I'm not sure it's going to be as straightforward as we think it might be. You add 4 or 5 players, those players are not going to come here to sit on the bench. So the only ones that we have ought to be rotation. How many of those players that we sign, 4 or 5, are going to be straight up first teamers? Maybe 2? Maybe?
I think it depends though, because if you look at what we did in January, we brought in Tarby, who was like 3 million quid, who I think we view as maybe a
development.
Even though he's like 21 or 22. And we brought Angulo for like 20 million. Like, I think for me, the recruitment needs to be a mix, because fundamentally we are long-term a selling club. Like, let's not lose sight of that. The idea is to bring players, develop and sell them. So if that is the case, then we do need to have a smattering of project players that are in the squad that maybe can blossom into something, which I would say is like what Romain Mundell currently is. Like, he's a player that may or may not make it at the top level, but we bought him for very cheap. We might be able to sell him for like 8 million quid. We need to have players like that, and then we need to go out. And I think, if it was me, we need, in terms of top level signings, we need to bring in 2 wingers. That's where the bulk. If we've got 100 million to spend, I want to see 60 of that spent on those 2 wingers, because that's the thing that's going to make a difference for us next season.
Yeah. One left and one right, because we're stacked on the left.
No, I think you buy in 2 right wingers. We've only got
Two right
we
wingers.
don't have a right winger.
No, you're
Unless
right.
he plays Mayenda out there, and I wouldn't be offended if he played Mayenda as the secondary right winger or a secondary striker and have him as like a cover for both. But he doesn't want to do that. Even he brought him on today to play on the right wing, I suppose. But as a rule, he doesn't want to do that.
No.
But we need to have 2, in my opinion, 2 top level, probably one that's ready and one that's maybe going to be ready soon. But we need to bring in 2 high level wingers because that's for me. I look at the team. And I like everything in this whole Sunderland team other than the wingers.
Yeah. Well, you can pay Tony Bang later because he agrees with you.
Thank you, Tony.
Look, I am not in disagreement with that. I am not convinced that suddenly means that we play very differently. I don't know how easy that is to do. Lebris is a cautious man, and we won't want to get caught out, have a terrible start, and struggle like West Ham trying to put late runs together. So I think he'll be cautious still. Will he play in a greatly adventurous start? In order to do that, and in order to have those rotating attacking players and those out and out wingers, we're going to have more possession and more control. And I think we're some way from dominating possession against half the Premier League or 40% of the Premier League. So I'm not sure it's going to be a straightforward thing. No, I think Lebris has it in him, and I think we can, but I don't think it's going to be straightforward.
No, but for me, right, when you watch Sunderland at the minute, I'm talking about Sunderland of the last 2 or 3 months, I am seeing a team that is pretty large. I mean, I know we've had some abominations at the back. Largely defensively okay, right? Largely we're a decent defensive team. And we're a team that recently has been getting into the final third quite a bit. And every single time, it feels to me, we are making wrong decisions. And whether or not that's players making the incorrect decisions or players being in the wrong positions or whatever it is. And I think that stems from the fact that we don't have high-level wingers. I think that's the conclusion I've drawn because I watch Sunderland and see, right, well, Brobbey's good. I know that he's a good player. I know that Elafay's good. I know that Siddiqui's good. I know that Xhaka's good. So when we are trying to create attacks, the only logical conclusion I can draw as to why we aren't great going forward is because it's the wingers. Because I do think we get into dangerous areas. Like today, we got into a lot of dangerous places on the field.
Yep.
We got into a lot of good areas. Our finishing was lacking and our decision making lacks. And I think the only conclusion I can draw is that comes from the wingers and not having good enough wingers.
We looked today like a good Premier League side who were missing some injured players. That's what we looked like today.
Probably, yeah.
We looked like, which is exactly what you're describing. Get some key players, and we'll be a good side.
And Dye at Everton, right? When we played Everton at home, he was just like the difference between they're Grealish and him, and the two of them absolutely destroyed her. Now, obviously, that's high level. Like it's going to be difficult to sign a player of those levels, but
Everton signed him.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the point I was about to make. It's like,
what about Sarr at Palace?
Yeah, and those make if we have players that fit into the defensive structure of the team, which I think Angulo is meant to be. To be fair, a lot of his data suggested that he was going to be.
Yeah, not if he wanders around. He's
elbowing people.
Wanders around elbowing people.
But that's what the profile of player they were looking at. Angulo's data before he came to Sunderland, and he's not been at Sunderland enough to really get an idea. He's barely started games. His data suggested that he was a really defensively responsible winger who could also do it in attack. So for me, feels reasonable to presume that the wingers that we are going to sign are going to fit that mold of being defensively pretty responsible while also showing glimpses in attack. And I just look at what we've had this season, particularly on the right. The left, maybe not so much because we have had options there, but I just look at it and I just think, well, we haven't had what Lebris wants. And what Lebris wants is a winger there who is good defensively, but also can offer an attack. And we've not really had that all season. I mean, I don't think Traore was... I think he was like a stopgap, hence why he got a 1-year deal with a potential extension.
Which I don't think they will extend. I shouldn't think. I think they'll go out and buy wingers. But one thing I'll say about Angulo before you answer that is there was a long ball to him that he did battle for, and he got round the back of Mazraoui. which I thought was excellent. And if you can become the sort of player who does that frequently, then maybe he will be very dangerous next season. But there hasn't been enough of him, so I don't know.
But should we talk about this? There's been links of Amad Diallo.
Come home, sweet prince.
I mean, I thought he was very poor today.
Yes, he was. But that's because he never got the ball.
Now, Amad this season at Man United has not had a good season. I think he's got 2 goals and no assists. So, I don't think Manchester United would necessarily sell him, but they need to spend. So you've got Man United this season have played 40 games. They got knocked out of both cups at the first stage, haven't been in Europe. They finished in the top 5. And yes, I would agree we won't sign Amad. But they need to spend 300 million quid on their squad this summer.
Who? Man United?
Man United, yeah.
Okay.
So therefore, they probably need to sell players. So does Amad potentially become available for somebody? Is basically what I was going to say.
I still think the hierarchy at the club really like him, and if they could sign him, they would do. But he's not coming here.
So much money.
You couldn't buy him even in a fire sale for less than 40 million.
Well, that's why I think Amad will leave Man United this summer.
He's currently on £120,000 with a contract till 2030. There is no way we're signing him. No, and anyone who does is going to have to pay top dollar.
He's going to leave Man United, I think, this summer, but I don't think he'll come to us. I think he'll move somewhere else.
Where would he move to that would be just close enough to us to annoy you? Everton? Something like that?
Yeah, Everton would annoy us.
Because then you'd be like, oh, well, we could have him.
Yeah, I was going to say Everton would. The Mags obviously would. But yeah.
Is this our left winger or is it Talby?
I think with a full pre-season, Angulo's the number 1 and Talby's the number 2.
I think Talby's improved an awful lot this season, though.
But that's not a criticism of Talby, because I think number 1 and 2 means Angulo's going to play most of the games, but Talby will still get. I mean, injuries and stuff happen. But yeah, I think Angulo. For me, I look at him and I think he's more polished, maybe.
Maybe. And I don't think we've seen enough of him. Well, let's see. It's going to be an interesting summer. I think. I mean, is that the season done now?
Well, I don't know. We've got to play Everton next week, which is potential 6-pointer. I haven't actually looked at the Premier League table. Should we look at the Premier League table before we go?
Well, amazingly, we still have a chance of 9th and the European Conference League. Bizarrely.
I'll
show you now. I've got it.
Okay.
I'll share it. Yeah, I'll share it now. I've got it up. So, where are we?
Man United signed Amad for like 30 million quid, I think, from Atalanta when he was about 18.
They did, yeah. So here you are, and we are. Here we are.
We're 12.
We're 12. Yeah, I can't do that. I have to do it that way. There we are, 48 points, and the only team above us who haven't played is also on 48 points. That's Everton. So, who do Everton play tomorrow? The top of your head, do you
know? I do know. They're away.
Quick before I get there. Away to Palace.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I stole your thunder. They're away to Palace, who will gift them the win because Palace are in a final. Yeah. So Everton will, I don't know. It's going to be between Everton, us, Chelsea. Look at that. 49 points for Chelsea.
Well, if we won
48. Oh God, don't because the games we could have won.
No. Let's just fit. So hypothetically, we win 2 games, which means we'd go on 54. The highest Chelsea would be able to get on is 52, and the highest Everton would be able to get on would be 51 because obviously we play them. But our goal difference is far worse than Brentford's.
We just got to get 9th. We've got to get 9th because
9th doesn't get you, does it?
Yeah, it will do. It will do because if Villa finish in 5th place, then the extra place goes to 6th for the Champions League.
Yes.
And so this is what happens. So the last game of the season, Bournemouth play Liverpool. So what Bournemouth will possibly have to do, if the table looks like this, is they will have to lose to Liverpool to ensure that they finish above Villa, meaning that they get a Champions League spot in 6th.
That's weird if that happens.
Because I know. If Bournemouth, if this is what the table looks like on the last day of the season, Liverpool, Villa, Bournemouth, then to get a Champions League spot at 6th, Bournemouth need Liverpool to beat them.
Yeah, and Bournemouth
so they'll have to lose
to hope that Brighton or whatever don't.
It does no. It won't matter. It won't matter if Villa win. It won't matter if Villa win. Oh, Brighton. I see what you mean. Yeah. So, well, I mean, if they get another point, maybe another point gap. Yeah. So. Unless the last game of the season is Villa-Brighton.
I don't think, though, the Europa League extends down. So I think we lose a Europa League place for Bournemouth to get in. So therefore, it'll still be 8th. I don't think we can get into Europe.
No. Really?
Yeah, because so what they do is they'll take away, I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that
they
if
take away a Europa League spot,
they get rid of Europa League spot. So Bournemouth would finish in the Champions League. What a crazy statement. Brighton would finish in the Europa League. Brentford would finish in the Conference League if it stays as it is right now. I think.
And what
Somebody
happens
in the
if
comments
City?
might be like, Chris.
And what happens if City win the FA Cup?
Oh, okay. So this was all on the premise of City winning the FA Cup. If City don't win the FA Cup, and Chelsea win the FA Cup, Chelsea are currently out of Europe anyway, so it won't matter.
Yeah.
But if City win the FA Cup, then that place goes to Brighton.
Okay.
If Chelsea win the FA Cup, then Brighton will finish in the Conference League. I think.
What's happening here?
Well, there's adverts that run on the stream, but
are there?
I can't. Yes.
I have no idea.
It's a monetized channel, so.
Do we get interrupted?
I think so. Yes, I think that's what happens.
So people miss what we say.
So what happens is an advert will come on and it'll talk, and we'll still be on screen, but it'll be like a little one on there. It happens to me when I watch Sunderland's press conference live stream.
I had no idea. Look, here we are, changing crisis.
Oh well, there we are.
Sure that 9th can be. Yeah. Well, look. So it is. If it goes down to 9th. It is still possible to get into Europe.
if it goes down to 9th,
you know what? I'm sick of clinging on to this idea and hope. Frankly,
yeah.
The moment this is impossible for us to do is the next game we win.
Abbott's Adventures pay for YouTube Premium. You don't get adverts. The adverts pay for my head wax. They absolutely do. I've got like a bowling ball machine that I just stick my head in. So I've got at home. And there we are. YouTube Premium at £7 a month. So there you go. If you want to do that, do that. Right. Are we wrapped up? Are we?
Yes. I'll be honest with you. You've made me feel a little better.
Good.
I felt disappointed, even though I can appreciate we played fantastically, possibly our best home performance of the season. I feel better than when I arrived, because when I arrived, I just felt they were there for the taking. We could have been sat happily now on 50 points, in with a chance, still talking about it, and it's all gone. But you've made me feel better.
Good. I'm glad. Why don't you set up so Super Chats get rid of the ads? To be honest, mate, I didn't know that was a thing, but we probably can do that in the future. So I shall look at adding that, but I just presumed that it did that anyway because we get Super Chats sometimes. Okay, so
Villa win the Europa League, finish 5th. The 5th extra goes to 6th. We've got that, so that would be Brentford.
Yeah.
Bumps Europa League down to 7th.
Yeah.
And I think the question was...
hang on, there's more here.
Oh,
Chelsea win the FA Cup and finish 7th.
Which bumps the conference down to 9th. So we're rooting for Chelsea now.
Yeah.
Okay. We're rooting for Liverpool to keep Villa in 5th and Chelsea to win the FA Cup.
It's complicated.
But possible.
There we go.
I'd best not buy that. Best not buy the Indiana Jones suit now then.
Yeah, it is possible. So hopefully Chelsea win the FA Cup on that midweek, have a party, because they play the FA Cup final, is the weekend before they play us, don't they? And then they've got a midweek game. I think
if they won the FA Cup and then couldn't be bothered to play us, that would be brilliant.
So they turn up on the final day and they've got nothing to play for, and they're happy and they're having a party, and we go there and we beat them. So there we go.
Yeah. Well, I am glad that MLF 1994 has a lot of time on his hands to help us out there.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well, I mean, I'm just glad that he knows. I mean, we should know, really, since we're the ones who are talking about it. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching an hour and 5 minutes of this. We'll be doing a player ratings video that'll be going on the Patreon, so check that out when it comes out. And we will see you later in the week. We'll do a match review. We'll have maybe propaganda this week. I don't know, possibly.
Depends how Man United fans react after the power bank derby.
Yeah.
Post on Twitter.
Yeah. Do you know what actually surprised me today about Man United? They were singing "We all hate Leeds. We all hate Leeds" quite a lot in the game, and I didn't know that Man United. Like, I thought Leeds hated Man United. I didn't realize.
And Leeds dismissed them, but yeah.
Do you know like how Middlesbrough don't like us, but we're like,
Couldn't care less.
So today I was in the sheepfolds watching the Middlesbrough game, and I would say that everyone in there was kind of rooting for Middlesbrough.
I was.
Yeah, most people were. So I think that's what I thought it was. I thought Leeds were like, oh, I hate Man United, and Man United were like, we don't really care that much. But they were singing today, we all hate Leeds, we all hate Leeds, we all hate Leeds.
Yeah. So. You see, I quite want Middlesbrough to win the playoffs and come up, but I would never want the Mags to do that.
Did you watch their game today, by the way?
The Middlesbrough game? Yeah, I watched Tommy Conway lose £2 million off his value.
Oh, just... I was just in awe in that first half at how a team could dominate that much and somehow not score a goal.
Well, I mean, then we went and did something similar in the first half, didn't we?
Not the scale that they
not
did. They were utterly the way that they played in that first half, they wouldn't let Southampton breathe for a minute. It was like the highest of presses, and Southampton had no idea how to cope with it. They somehow got in at half time, and to be fair, Southampton nearly nicked it at the end, didn't they? But
they will. They'll beat them at home now and make it all worth nothing. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
I listened to the top 20, and they were saying that Hellberg, if there's any manager in the EFL that's going to be like the highest of levels, who's going to play like Champions League level manager, it'll be Hellberg. I was like, I don't know. He kind of coaches teams to score.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I don't agree, Tony. I wouldn't want them to fold because we get 6 points every season.
There's some propaganda for next year.
Yeah. So, well, we do. It's a general rule, 4 or 6.
How old do you have to be to have seen them beat us?
50 or something.
Something like that.
No,
Are you sure? 20... Even I don't remember. Remember.
25 maybe. Well, 2011 is the last time they beat us in the league, so that would mean you'd have to be, if you were 10 years old at the time, that means you'd have to be like 25.
I'm going to have to do something about this. I've got no idea. But SJ 30,000, where do we go when an advert comes out? Do we get minimized into the top corner or something? I have no idea what happens here.
If you watch the press conference stream, it happens on that all the time, and it is annoying. Like, I do empathize with the situation, but fundamentally,
I never watch it live. I always watch it afterwards, and it doesn't happen.
I sometimes watch it live. Yeah, I mean, it's just I can't really do any. Well, I mean, I can do something about the ads. I can put them up unmonetized, but then if we put them up unmonetized, then we can't do as many live streams because we don't make any money. So, it's the way of the world, fundamentally.
Okay. All right. Well, we better go before we have another one and SJ is annoyed.
Yeah. There we go.
Are you going to get this done? Is that are you going to do this? No. Are you hoping for a European game in Turkey to cut the costs down?
No.
Or is this just a myth?
I have no interest in going to Turkey and getting a new house.
I know.
I'm a married man.
A couple of people have mentioned it it's just going to get mentioned more and more frequently so that it becomes a myth and then it will become the truth.
My wife loves me for my bald head. And she's giving us a look now of, well, you do love us for our bald head. Oh, in spite of the bald head, maybe.
Does she sit next to you holding all the cue cards?
No, she's currently in there doing the dishes.
That's outrageous.
Okay,
that's outrageous.
Well, SJ 30,000. I will look at that. I'll see if I'll put them on next week. So there we go. Next time we do a live stream. Right. Bye.
Wait a second. Apparently, I lose out here.
Yeah, it's because you're the one who's always talking.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
Bye, friends. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.